Evening, good afternoon, good morning. Oh, again, this is you are on African Hard Talk African Point of View. Your host Alex Oluwole Ajala. Once again, we'll be with you and we have a chat over some topical issues regarding how we came to be what we are. It's very important that we know. And the main topic today is the Yoruba sovereignty. The Yoruba national sovereignty. It is Yoruba now is a good thing, but it does not express the real depth of our quest, the quest for the dissolution of that amalgam. Well, well, I want to say again, welcome to this program. We are transmitting on Clevenard TV worldwide from London. We are transmitting online worldwide, reaching to all corners of the globe. We want people to listen to us. I would not most of the time speak in my language, which is Yoruba, of which ancestrally should be the language of conduct in our new nation. But we haven't got a new nation yet. So we want to let the world know about our quest. Because reference to one author I was trawling through his book, Tim Marshall. He had a very incisive and a book that you would not want to drop, Prisoners of Geography. What he was trying to express there is that the Africans had no hand in the creation of the countries they find themselves in now. So why are they trying all their level best to find a meaning to a country they did not have a hand in creating? And people find themselves, and they now call themselves by the names of the so-called new nation states of Africa. That was what the colonial people left behind. Are we really nation states? The answer is no. We are just a motley crew of a people that have been joined together within some geographical boundaries that answer to the interests of the white man who created it and not to the people who find themselves in it. So if we start to examine this thing in this way, then it means we are not going to be able to address the issue of Pan-Africanism properly, because those countries, and the language I'm speaking now is an English one. How are we going to conduct Pan-Africanism? What language? What I believe, some people suggest it should be Swahili. Well, how many of us do speak Swahili? And if you know the origin of the language Swahili, it's a combination of an East African language and Arabic that was used in the conduct of slavery. I'm not going to learn that language, I'm sorry. I would rather learn the Luo language or the Kikuyu language as maybe a second or third African language with my Yoruba language or Igbo language or even the Fulani language, so I can know what my neighbor, this is the way I see them. We cannot be in the same country. We'll just be deceiving ourselves all along. We have to do what Professor Ali Mazrou, late now, an eminent professor of social studies, a sociologist of note, lectured in several universities in the US. He's from Tanzania. He's late now. I was connected with him briefly, but he said he was too busy. But unfortunately, is gone. I wanted to share my view because he also was promoting the fact that there must be a new geopolitical reconstruction of Africa. He said Africa needs a new geopolitical reconstruction. The geopolitics is that we have people who do not know themselves, or even having constructed those places by the white man spheres of influence. You have some of the ethnic nationals have more than the others. And when the white man goes, those whose population is more than the others stand to try to lord it over the rest of them whose population is less. Well, that's one of the very sad situation we have in Nigeria, even though there's so much of lies and falsehood about the number of people that are distributed in the different ethnic national boundaries. Using the word ethnic national boundaries, the Yoruba ethnic nationals, the Fulani, the Igbos, the Junkos, and the Jos, the Bibios, the TV, the Biron, the Takpas, the Nupes. They live in defined ethnic national boundaries. The colonial masters who came, I use that word, did not take cognizance of these differences. All they wanted was to create spheres of influence. And unfortunately, me as a Yoruba man finds myself in the English-speaking part of that creation. And some of my own people find themselves in the French-speaking part of the creation. So the question now is, to all of us, did our forefathers have a hand in the creation of Nigeria or any of the countries in Africa? I leave that question to you. Did they meet at any point in time? Let's say that the Alafin or the Oni or the Basharon, whoever must have been sent, met with any of the northern leaders or eastern leaders and said they want to create a nation? That's a question for all of us. You have my number on the screen. You can call if you have an answer to that question. Because this time around, we are going to be talking to each other. How did we come to this level? Is it because we are not intelligent enough to understand what a nation is? Even if we were speaking English language, you should understand that, oh, that other person I'm speaking to, if I don't speak English language, you will not get to understand what I'm saying. And the English language is a borrowed one. It's a colonial language, just like Swahili. The French also, or the Portuguese, or the Spanish language. Is it the basis of our Pan-Africanism? How do we go about it? Well, the truth is that as at the time we were having independence, we should have called for the dissolution of those countries so that each area, each language, ethnic national will stand as its own country, start its own development, not inimical to the others around. It is an awareness of the fact that this is a colonial fiat, a trading post, which they couldn't even find a simple political structure to make it work. None is working. Every attempt. It is not about saying we are united that makes a country. It is about what you do to each other. How do you accept each other? What kind of relationship do you have with each other? Is it based on a structure that has no clear definition. Look at politics in most of the countries in Africa. Let's come to Nigeria and Yoruba land and the Igbo land and the Fulani land, the Hausa land. If I have a political party with good intentions, and I want to say I must have what you call a spread across the country. I don't understand Jonko. I don't understand Hausa. I don't understand Fulani or Fufude. And I'm going to campaign. Let's say, for example, I'm going to campaign in Damanturu. I'm Yoruba. I get to Damanturu. Well, because there's a sort of modernity we are trying to patch up. We want to find a common approach to governing each other. I start speaking English language. And maybe I have sourced for somebody who has a similar political ideology with me in Damanturu. Not really that he's sincere about it, but what they want to get. He will offer to translate what I'm saying. And I'll be saying, I want to provide this, and that, so that the life abundant will come to our society. What if he's telling the people, say that thing about the person in his language? Don't mind him. He's just come to fool us. Where is he going to be able to do all the things? In fact, we don't even want education, white man's education. He's translating what I've just said, which is different. What he's telling them is different from what I've said. And then he will say, when I finish speaking, all of you clap. When he finished speaking, all of them will clap. And foolishly enough, I would think they understood what I've said through the third party. Is that the kind of life the African is going to live forever? Deceit at the highest level. I want to pick it that we need to re-examine. Africa is not a country. It's a continent. It's the second largest continent in the world. The Mercator mapping system makes it look as if it is not large. It's expansive. From north to south, from the farthest point at Tunisia down to Cape of Good Hope is 5,000 miles. And right across from Senegal to the tip of the Horn of Africa is 3,000 miles. We are vast. I find it ridiculous when leadership, those who get the mantle of being the first persons to have gone to school in their different colonial masters countries. Us in Nigeria go to our colonial masters country, England, and perhaps to some extent those other places that speak English language, like in the US, and like Australia, Canada. Then the Africans who happen to be under the French will go to École in France and all other French-speaking areas. How can we really become one? Cooperation amongst the Africans on the basis of their ethnicity is the best approach to start to kickstart the development in Africa. Let the Yorubas be on their own. Let the Fulanis be on their own. I will repeat again. Bishop Kuka of the diocese in Sokoto had said it emphatically, that let everybody go his own way and start to develop, rather than wasting the time of our youths all over the place and creating mayhem amongst us. With the youth, most of them coming out of schools and no jobs. This was one of the things I remarked in the conference in 1996 at the Cambridge University, when Gowon came to speak on the effect of Britain and the NGOs in Nigeria and how they've been helping. Then I stood up and I said, but I believe it was recorded, that young men and women are coming out of schools. You are using quota system. They want to go to university. Those of them you leave this year, are you going to hang them on a shelf? And then the new set comes out. And then the new set, what have we now resulted into? A massive flood of young men and women in our streets. Some of them, frustrated, travel the desert, try to cross the Mediterranean Sea to come to Europe. Myself too, I'm in Europe. I'm hanging on here. Even if you seem to see me as if I'm a lord or something, but Africa is the home, not the Africa that we have left behind. We have to recreate Africa completely. And that is why I am advocating that, starting with Nigeria, we have to dissolve it so that the Yoruba race in Nigeria will have their sovereignty back and develop according to their wish and according to their efforts and according to their wisdom and in the use of their language, in education and science and technology. STEM, science, technology, engineering, and maths will be a prime factor in the setup of our curriculum. Our curriculum should be geared towards development. And in the process, we will not forget history. We will not forget geography, because geography will inform us of what we have. In history will detail out what we were before and what we want to become and what tomorrow may become. So you see, the whole package cannot be left. It has to work. It has to work. We need ourselves to understand that our sovereignty will kickstart development rapidly, because people of a common ancestral origin have the best option and best approach. Even if they quarrel among themselves, it does happen, but they will still know that this is the target we are facing. Others are moving, so we will not be left behind. Quarreling is part of democracy, and that I will believe should be assigned. It should be something that cannot be thrown aside. We quarrel to understand who we are, and then we set up to develop. Our leadership then, even government, should not be those who become autocratic. They should listen to the people. And that is one of the things we are going to put in place in a new sovereign Yoruba nation. A non-listening governor will have to be voted out. It is not going to be the era of money throwing about and buying people's votes or lobbying, although some people say lobbying like it's in America, but they do effectively for purpose of growth. What do we do with our own? We carry bags of money to change people's mind. We could have gone since 1998 if some people did not take bags of money from Abuja. We could have had a new nation, the Yoruba sovereign nation. There should not be any fear It is an amalgam. If it doesn't work, then it has to be dissolved. I keep on repeating this until people understand that we don't have a stake in protecting Nigeria. We have a stake in protecting the lives of our people, the Yoruba race, and even the lives of the other people where we find ourselves attached to. Just like Lugard said in his last report before he left his sojourn in Nigeria in 1990, he described the major races clearly. Said the Fulani are a menace and a nuisance to anybody they find themselves attached to. And to the Yorubas, they are fun-loving people but hardworking. And the Igbos, if you give them power, they take. If you give them a step, they will take 10 and push you aside. That is Lugard's summation. You check his last report, not from his book, the Dual Mandate. You check it from my reference, this one, Lugard Years of Authority, 1898 to 1945. And by the way, Lugard died in 1945. And we intend to go to, because when he died, he was cremated and his ashes were again taken to another location, of which I'm going to provide. We need to visit the place. That's the founding father of Nigeria, not the impression some of our politicians always give about Zik, Awolowo, and Balewa. They have never had founding fathers. They negotiated the independence in a very sloppy way. That's what I would say, because there was not even a finality from their end. All they wanted was the British to still find the constitution for them. They didn't write the constitution. It was written and then presented, and then the last one, the Macpherson constitution, was approved without looking at the depth of that constitution itself. That constitution did not give room for the federal government to go and close down Western region, but they did. To me, 1962 was the death of Nigeria. We've been trying to bury it. I've been moving it from one mortuary to the other because electricity is not there. So before it becomes rotten, let us move it to the next mortuary where there's electricity. Imagine Lagos, a city of 21 million, will be suffering from power outage, load shedding, no electricity, industries flying out of Lagos. Ikeja industrial estates, like Oregon and all that, have wretchedness. Is that what the Yoruba race want to continue to endure? Unless if we are stupid, that we will continue to endure that. We have a right to stand up and say the amalgam had failed totally. It is not helping anybody equally, whether the Yorubas or Igbos or Hausas. Let everybody go his own way. But of course, let me remind you, the Hausas pretense of saying that we have bandits in our land is not true. We don't have bandits. We have people who want to take over our land. They have the colonial mentality of the fact that God has given them the land of in fact, some of them claim that the Yoruba land has been given to them by Allah. I hope any Yoruba person hearing this will not get too much annoyed. It is our fault to continue to carry the burden of Nigeria from 1906. That's the time we started carrying the burden of Nigeria. Most of the monies that were used in developing the North, a larger percentage of it came from Western region. You can check during this course of discussion. There are notes that I will be sending out later for those of you who want to know further. And then with the statistics, because at this point, I'm just giving an overview of the events that happened, because I mentioned that the Western region was paying more to the Central Post than any other region, and was getting less at the same time. Yet our people kept quiet because they want to maintain Nigeria. Ṣé ẹrù ńlá yẹn o, ṣé kò wú wọn lẹ́yìn wọn ni? Ọrùn wọ̀. You have to be carrying a burden and you are crouching down. It's pushing you down. Yet we still run around and say we want to have a political accommodation in such a territory that was never our creation. That political accommodation should stop this year. We no longer want to carry the burden of Nigeria. And to every Yoruba, those of you who still think because you are going to get a lot of money from the center, stop, because it is the money that is going to choke you to death that you are going to get. After that money was generated from the Niger Delta, it belongs to them. It does not belong to Nigeria. All the laws and then edits and whatever that have been written to say all minerals belong to the federal government was made as a colonial fiat to stop Zik from acquiring land in the Niger Delta and behave like a Texan oil baron. I'll let you know the truth. That was why that edit was made and gazetted in 1934. Check it out. In some countries, let me give you an example. The shale oil mining in Canada, the oil, the thick oil, is supposed to be refined in the large refineries in Texas, in the United States. So if you look at the map of Canada and then towards the area where the oil is coming from, that is the northwestern area of Canada, right across diagonally to this thing. Every inch of that pipeline that passes through somebody's land, we get royalty on it. So, what do we have in Nigeria? The people of the Niger Delta are the sovereign nabots of our people. They get nothing. And that's why, having waited over the years, some of the young, enterprising young men now discover that they could refine oil on their own. They start tapping. It wasn't happening when it just started. They were all happy, oh, oil has come, our life will change. It didn't change from 1959 when the first oil barrels were exported. 1956 was the first commercial quantity that came out at Oluwole oil head. 1956, and the first export started in 59 on the eve of our independence, and just before the elections that was held in December 12, 1959. Well, that election is another topic we are going to discuss in depth, and how it came to be and why the North won most seats than the places that have more population. The analysis will be tabled in my next chat with you. Unfortunately, we need to understand what we are saying now. It's not the fact that we hate Nigeria, as I said, but we hate this fact that Nigeria is destroying the people that it collectively encompasses by a boundary that we didn't have a hand in creating. destroying their civilization. Whether you like it or not, the best option for us is to start with Nigeria. If Africa is going to develop, we have to re-examine their presence in the countries created for them. Keep on repeating it. Let no one forget, those countries in Africa were created countries. Tim Marshall said the Congo is a big black hole in the center of Africa. The people don't know themselves. Right from the day the Belgians left, 3 months after, up to as I'm speaking now, there's been crisis, murder, mayhem. Between 1960 and 1994 and year 2000, over 6 million have died. It's an unsung war that is happening right in the center of Africa. Even the Africans do not report it. So why do you expect the white man to report it for you? Because we tend to, there's a government in Kinshasa. Whereas people are dying on a daily basis. And because there is not the awareness of the fact that these people have nothing in common. Moses Sumbe was the first African that I respect. He called for the dissolution of the Congo, that we don't know each other. Katanga province can stay as a country on its own. It will be to the glory of Africa. Then also Batoliti and the other places stay on their own. And the central area where Lumumba comes from, where he's freed, his province, I've forgotten the name, I'll let you know next time, should stay on their own too. It is not an ideological battle to try to fit Africa into some ideological we need development. That is what the first Africans should have looked at. The first ones who were working with the Europeans. How our people are going to develop. The young child that is born today, what is the future for them? We are not thinking about, rather we are talking about African unity. When we have not crawled. It's sad. I said, if you have any contribution to what I said, you can ask me. It's sad. African unity. When there is, one time, one of the African leaders said he had a federation of African nations, Ghana, Guinea, Mali. If you are listening, can you take up a map of West Africa and look at the location of Ghana, Guinea, Mali? What combines them? What brings them together? Is it just the leadership that are going to unite? It is the people to work together differently in their different countries, in trade and industry, connectivities, roads, railway, airways, waterways. Unfortunately, that's one great problem of Africa. We are prisoners of our geography because most of our rivers are not that navigable. But again, they are an advantage. They could be converted into what the British Hydroelectric Power Association, of which I'm a member, we say, for electricity, add water. What that means is that create a dam. Not always a large structure across the river. You could just harness part of the river, divert it into a pipe, run it through a turbine, and return the water into the river again. That way you are not destroying the ecosystem much, but you're still going to create a part. Because development requires that sometimes we have to be sensible about how we tackle our environment. We have to be sensitive because the environment makes us. Those who don't respect the environment can spoil it. Just like, remember, immediately after the Second World War, the British colonial officers felt that the grassland of Tanzania was going to uh, give a lot of yield of groundnuts. They brought in a lot of tractors, tractors, and they started digging up the land. The first product was successful. The second one failed because they had dug up unfertile soil. And they forgot one thing. The groundnut is the legume. Having affected, they will have plowed them in again and leave those plots. To mature again before they cultivate. So about £9 million, if you check the record, invested in the groundnut escapade in Tanzania, or Tanganyika as it was called then, failed. So you see, there are a lot of things we have to learn on this chart. Yoruba sovereignty is important because we cannot continue to be trapped into a geographical space that had nothing to do with us. And then talking about rivers, we have several rivers flowing down the mountains, the Yoruba Hills and the Kukuruku Hills, right across from the boundaries of Benin or Dahomey as it was called, right across to River Niger. And then Takpe Hills where there's iron ore and an unfinished giant iron steel rolling mill that required only 5% completion before it starts to roll out heavy machineries, including railway tracks and all that. In central Nigeria, it's not working. A whole village, a whole industrial village is abandoned. Google it. Ajala Steel Factory. A whole village abandoned. A railway line that was connecting that place with Warri was also almost virtually abandoned until some of us started to make noise, and the federal government felt, okay, this could be a vote catching effort. They put some rickety railways there, and they never completed the stations. If anybody has ridden the train from Warri to Itakpe, Najakuta, or to Lokoja, I expect the railway to be extended into Lokoja. It's a city. I don't think it has. So is that the kind of development we should continue to witness? Look at the Onyo Dam, very close to Abeokuta. It has some rickety 9 megawatt of electricity generating capacity. Since 1984 that it was finished, it was never allowed to function. And we've had governments, officials, even Fashola at one time when he was governor of Lagos State, because of the flood in that place causes, he went to visit the place. And he saw that it was, if I were him, I would take the federal government on. We have electric capacity here. Let us get it on and add it to the national grid. Every little thing might will at least improve the quality of electricity around the area where that thing is. That dam is very big, it's unused, and therefore insects and microbes and bacteria started to grow in the soil. And some young men, about 3 of them, were asked to write a paper on it, and they condemned it. I don't see anywhere in the world that people condemn a dam. It's unused. I expected their report to be, this thing must come on stream. The waters from that dam should now, as it was stated in the construction, to be piped to Lagos for processing for both industrial and domestic use. That was the purpose of that dam in Oyo. All of them are keeping quiet. Why? Because one man who happens to be the head of state Buhari stopped further action on that dam. That's a fact. And everybody's afraid to talk to the federal government about it. Why are we living in fear? Are we born slaves? Do we have to beg for our future? We decided to prop up Nigeria, the Yoruba race. Then we should not continue to prop it up. Why are we scared? Everything happening to us is our own fault. It's not predicated to either Britain or America. It is because of our acquiescence. Our leader was disgraced on the eve of independence, just before the flag was brought down. Yet we kept quiet. Some of us felt it was okay. You see what we are suffering now? We had a right, and we still have the right, to call for the dissolution of the amalgam, because Nigeria was created as an amalgam. After patching of various little portions, Calabar area, the Niger Delta, the colony of Lagos, the Yoruba land, and all that in the north too, patching all of them together, seizing Sokoto back from the French, giving the French Cotonou and Port Novo and all that, and then they finally arrived at two countries, Southern Nigeria and Southern Nigeria Protectorate and Northern Nigeria Protectorate. One rider. Money was short in the north for the administrators. Let me remind you, these administrators were the white men who came to trade anyway. And to trade, they needed a peaceful environment to be able to use our people, to provide for them the raw material they need. Railways were constructed. Lugard did not deem it fit that we should, like in Britain, to have in that large country standard gauge railway. He said after all, it's just to ship the products produced from the north to the south. And anyway, there's not any particular reason for the Southerners to start using it as a tourist or transportation thing. That was their vision, to have the railway ship products from the north to the south, and most of the time travel not empty. That is what and some of our people I met when I was in Ibadan. Oh, the Nigerian railways was very good. The first class, I said, thing. Something that wouldn't stand in Europe. Non-standard gauge railway. That's what you see. So I don't know why a lot of people who are in a position to say no to this wretchedness. Sit back and start watching Ọlọ́run á ṣe. This is not the time to sit back anymore. Because if we do not stand up now, they are encroaching us. They have caused hunger and mayhem and insecurity around us. Even though I understand that they just opened the borders, it is just a gimmick. All the time the border was closed for over 2 years, the northern borders was open. And that was the time they were putting the railway and the roads and the oil pipelines to pump crude petroleum oil into the refinery in Niger. Those areas were open. And talking of them, when the president came back after 100 days in Europe for his medical business, the second week he announced that the Bacolori dam that had broken down, that 65 million pounds should be released for the snatching up of that place. What of Oyo Dam that is ready? Or even Keregoj Dam that General Obasanjo said he started and gave it to Shagari to finish. Did he, when he got there in his second sojourn as a president of Nigeria, did he address the fact that this project I started has not been completed and it still has not been completed today? Are they in fear? And who are they afraid of? These are the things we should take on board and challenge the country's existence. That if things cannot be done in Nigeria and we are telling the world that it's the fastest growing economy, then let us go our separate ways so that we can take care of our people. After we had high development in the 50s under Oluwole, free service, free education, agricultural development, roads development. Sule Bonnet came from Israel, or what generally we call Shinobole. And in this process, our local engineers also formed their companies. The Tewogbade, the Oni & Sons, and the Haboni, and all the other myriad of engineering groups stood up. And like again, remember that even Kaduna that you're looking today was built by one Adenuga and a British architect who attended the Polytechnic of Central London. The documents of which I'm still looking for. I had it for some years. I would like you see it. How people built Kaduna for them. But if you Google it, there's no mention of Adenuga. Or no man, because if they mention Adenuga, there's no mention of the white man who came to build it. Because if they mention him, Adenuga's name will come up. It's called, the documents are still currently in the University of Westminster, the Central London area, the campus. I will go there. I got it from there in those days when I was doing videography as an additional diploma after all my sojourn in the educational systems. We need to wake up. Yoruba sovereignty is an important thing that we need to achieve. We have missed a lot. We have compromised so much. We have mortgaged our future into a Nigeria that has nothing to do with us. If it does, Lagos will not be in darkness. If it does, Lagos should not be digging up and turning the whole landscape of Lagos into Akpere with all the boreholes all over the place. And if it does, Lagos should not have been carrying poor till 1977. Who was in charge of Lagos? Yaradua's father from Castina. Does he know anything about Lagos? Our Lagosians, rather, instead of addressing that issue, they were busy doing no one pay and attending clubs to drink. That was the time we should have woken up. Àwọn Ìgbò ló ṣe, àwọn Ìgbò kọ́ ló ń rule wa. We are the ones ruling ourselves. Tomorrow, we'll go deeper into these things. And I mentioned some African countries that are singularly placed as a single nation country, Botswana. I know you will talk about Somalia. Somalia's case is like the Middle East, the Saudi Arabian Peninsula. We'll discuss all that and how it affects the existence of the Yorubas in Nigeria. We are not Nigerians, and that's what I told some elders. We are Yorubas in Nigeria. Tó bá bí ọmọ tẹ́ bá máa sọ lórúkọ Nàìjíríà kọ́ lẹ̀ ń sọ, orúkọ Yorùbá ni. So ilẹ̀ Yorùbá lè máa kọ́ pé tá a wà nínú Nigeria, because there is not a language called Nigeria. It's imperative that we stand up to call for the dissolution of the amalgam. And the World Press Conference has to be held by those who will do it. It's going to happen. War? How many fronts are they going to fight? I know they are all around us, but they are going to fail. Thank you very much. Dissolution is the solution. Thank you very much for listening to me on this topical issue, Heart Talk Africa. Heart Talk Africa. On the African point of view, we are going to be treating, for the time being, the issues surrounding Nigeria and its existence. And occasionally we will mention similarities in the other part of Africa to show that we are all in this mess together, starting with Nigeria. After all, Leopold Senghor had said, I think 1988, before he left this world, that the problem of Africa is Nigeria. Until Nigeria dissolves, there will be no progress in Africa. He said it. And Oluwole Titi also warned us that it's the presence of the British that is keeping Nigeria together. If they go, what are we going to do? There are several statements that I have about the representatives, right from Balewa's statement, Awolowo statement, Eyoeta statement, and Zig's statement. All discordant positions, yet we held on to Nigeria. And one little young man who some of these British, like Trevor Clark, calls a very arrogant young man, Bode Thomas, said, àwọn arábí ò kì í ṣe ara wa, ẹ jẹ́ ká fi wọ́n lẹ̀ kán máa lọ tí wọ́n ká dá dúró. He said that in 1953. Thank you. We will continue tomorrow. This is Oluwole Ajala on Heart Talk Africa, and we are going to continue this series tomorrow, the part 3, this part 2. We're going to go on, and I want you to participate with me. They have my number on the screen, and if you have anything to contribute, you are free to do that by calling on that number, so that we can have a very useful and chatty chat on Africa. The youth and elders of Africa, like I represent, and the youth of Africa should wake up to the reality. It is not about dancing only. It is not about the few technological breakthrough that all of you have done in their various fields, in overseas mostly, and a few in Africa. I've seen some of them building cars and just tinkering with this thing. We should be doing something more. If there is electricity availability, there's so much to talk about. I'll stop so far here. Thank you very much for listening. Once again, this Alex Oluwole Ajala reaching you on Clevenard TV worldwide from London. Thank you, thank you, thank you.